If there's something that's really important to understand, is that you have only experienced life from your own perspective. Everything that you've ever experienced, you have experienced from your own perspective. You didn't experience it from the perspective of a lion. You didn't experience it from a perspective of a dolphin in an aquarium. You didn't experience it from the perspective of a prey. You didn't experience it from the perspective of Charles Manson. You have only experienced it from your perspective. So you need to consider the fact that there's a person who's about to die of starvation right now. You need to consider the fact that there's an animal that is being chased right now and it's running for its life. You need to consider the fact that there's a soldier that is about to die right now. There's a soldier that is being tortured right now. You need to consider the fact that there is someone who's been suffering their whole life and who don't know how to escape their suffering and who probably won't escape their suffering. You need to consider the fact that there's a person right now who's about to end their own life. Because most people just look at their own lives, like, I'm good. I have this, I have that. I have a job. I have a family and they love me. I have a girlfriend. I have a boyfriend. I have a car. I'm living in a nice home. You only seeing things from your own perspective. You're not seeing things from the perspective of a homeless person. What we need to understand is that life is like gambling. Very few people get to win. All right, it's not possible for everyone to win. That's not how it was designed. Very few people must win for this life to continue. I've spoken about this a lot in my previous videos, that it's about evolution. It's about survival of the fittest. And there's always going to be few people who are the fittest. Because even if a lot of people are fit, that's not what it's about. It's about the few that are the fittest. You see, we do try to recreate life with sports, for an example. In sports where there are many participants, very few people get to win. You might find that if 100 people are competing in a game, 3 people get to win. That's how life is. You see, and those that lose are going to suffer. They're the ones that are going to be starving. They're the ones that are not going to have access to things that they want. They're the ones that will be censored. If you can't really speak your mind, you are defeated, period. You are not winning, you are suffering. If someone can tell you that you cannot get out of your house, you need to stay indoors, otherwise you're going to get locked up, you are defeated. You are not winning, you are losing. Because if you are winning, you'll be the one that's telling people that, you can't get out of your house. You need to understand that. That's very, very important to understand, because there are a lot of things that are happening in our society that we feel like they are cool. Things that have been normalized. It is normal for people to be told that they cannot they cannot come out of their houses for a certain period of time. It is normal for people to be forced to continue to experience this life, even if they do not want to. And we make it seem as if that's a good thing or that's the right thing. We don't want to call it what it is, which is forcing people to be here. Period. It is forcing people, and we make it seem as if it's about them while it's about us. If I'm in a relationship with someone and that someone wants to leave and I beg them to stay, do you think I'll be begging them to stay because I think I'm what's best for them? Or because I really want them or need them in my life. Because people always try to make it seem like it's about the people that don't want to be part of this experience anymore, as if they're saving these people's lives, as if they became sick somehow and they need to be brought back into their senses, so they need to be given medication, all these crazy things need to be done to them so that they will continue to be here. It's crazy, man. But yeah, we need to understand that there are a lot of people who are not winning. There are a lot of people who are suffering. There are people who are making decisions for everyone. Whatever they want the world to be, it becomes that because they have the power to change the world. If you are broke and you're at the bottom and nobody's listening to you, whatever, you don't have the power to do shit, all right? You're just going to be the victim of other people's decisions over your own life. So you're not winning, so you will be suffering because of that. It's how it is, man. But let me ask you a question. Do you think that if we paused everything now and gave you an opportunity to experience life from the perspective of every life form that has ever lived, and then after all the experiences that you will have heard, we'll ask you this question: do you think life is a net positive? What do you think your answer will be? Do you think you think that it's a net positive? After experiencing what it's like to be a frog, after experiencing what it's like to be an animal that's in captivity and that has to live in captivity for its whole life and get killed in the end? After experiencing what it's like to be in prison, after experiencing what it's like to be a slave, after experiencing what it's like to die of starvation, do you think you would think that life is a net positive? I think you really need to be honest with yourself here. Because many people lie to themselves because they're experiencing life from their own perspective. Yes, you do have all the things that you have, and you don't have the things that you have because you have done the right things. No, really, you have the things that you have because you were lucky. There are a lot of people who have worked very hard to be where you are, but who never got to be where you are, and who will never get to be where you are. There are people who are working way harder than you are. There are a lot of people who have done things the right way. Because, have you ever done something the wrong way but still got positive results? I mean, it does happen to me sometimes. I do things wrong and still get positive results. We need to understand that happens. So if you find yourself in a positive situation, it doesn't mean that you've done the right thing. It doesn't mean that you deserve to be in that position because you've done something good in the world and the universe is rewarding you for it. No, you were just lucky. It's that simple. It's like gambling. It's really based on luck. So you must understand that in gambling, there will be few people who win and there will be a lot of people who lose. It's that simple to understand, man, and it's very obvious. We don't need to deny these things. So it's very important for us to really see things as they are. It's very important for our generation to see things as they are, because if we were going to try to fix any problem that we have as a collective, it will need to start with us seeing the world for what it really is. That actually life is a net negative. So what can be done to make it a positive experience for a lot of people? How can we make it a net positive? Although I don't feel like we can do that because we are selfish. Because listen, we are all right now as a collective. Right now, where we are at, we are capable of changing the world. You know that we are capable of making this experience good for every life form that exists now. For every sentient being that exists now, we do have the capacity to make its experience good. But we still choose to be selfish because that's how we are. We are selfish. We always want to compete. We always want to dominate other sentient beings. Who knows why? But we're not going to do anything about it because that's how we are programmed. You know, it's like this game is supposed to be like that. You know, just like the games that we play that we have created. Like I said, we try to recreate life with sports. You know, very few people get to win and a lot of people get to lose, and that's how this life is. So you cannot say life is a net positive. I fully believe that if you were to experience life from the perspective of every life form that has ever existed, you would not want to re-experience life again. I don't believe there will be any conscious being that would want to re-experience life from every perspective. I don't believe that there will be. You know, if you got to experience that once, you would never want to experience it again. You would never want to experience what it's like to grow up in a toxic household. You know, the reason why people who have had very bad experiences in the past are optimistic now, because you might say, oh, yeah, if really people don't want to experience these things, you know, they will just end their lives and stuff like that. No, it's because you're still optimistic. You still think things are going to change. You still think that you're not going to re-experience these things. But if you were told that actually you're going to re-experience all the shit that you have hated, or you're going to still experience all the things that have traumatized you, you go like, no fucking way, I don't want to re-experience all that shit. You know, if you have really had a hard life and someone came to you and told you that you have to re-experience this shit, you wouldn't want it. Even if you love being here now. But if you were told that you're gonna have to experience the fucked up shit that is happening in life, you probably would say, no, never, I'm not gonna re-experience all that bullshit, you know. But most people are still here because they are optimistic. Even the people that are suffering, they're still here because they think, yes, things are gonna change. And sometimes things do change because it's a game. You can win in the end, you know. That's why some people say this is chess, not checkers. It's marathon, you know. So people shouldn't sprint. Yeah, you can win in the end, man. You can win in the end, but that doesn't mean that life is a net positive, because a lot of people lose and a lot of people are suffering because they are not winning. But what's really bad about this game is that it is imposed on people. You know, no one gets to choose to be here. I mean, if I choose to join, to participate in a game, I chose to participate in the game. I'm ready for whatever. I know that I can live with winning. I can live with losing. I don't have a problem with that. But if something is imposed on me, if I'm forced to play, something about it is just off. You know, it's slavery. And we need to call it that because that's what it is. We can't be calling it something else. So, yes, life itself is a net negative. Even if it was a choice, it would still be a net negative. You know, just like gambling. Gambling is a net negative, you see. But what makes it worse is that people don't even choose to be here. So now people are forced to participate in this game where a lot of people get to suffer by default. And we act like that this is good. We act like this is beautiful. You know, a lot of people who think that this is beautiful are people that study life. They study nature. You know, they'll tell you, oh, it's just the cycle of life. You know, if an animal gets attacked and get killed and get eaten, it's gonna turn into manure, and that's gonna make the soil more fertile, all this damn shit. That's what they're gonna say. Yeah, we understand how the whole thing works, but that does not mean that it's not evil. That does not mean that these animals are not suffering. That does not mean that we are not suffering. You know, we do understand it's brilliant. The way things work is very, very brilliant. You know, everything is connected. That is the truth. But are people happy? Are the animals that are experiencing this life happy? And ain't they the ones that have to judge? You know, ain't sentient life given the power to judge? A lot of people say to the universe this is good because it doesn't matter whether something, or whether we think something is positive or negative. That's true, but we are the ones that actually have the power to judge because we're sentient. You know, the universe, according to these people, is not self-aware. So yeah, it cannot judge. So why should we give it so much power if it can't even decide whether this is good or bad? We are the ones that must decide if this is good or bad. And people like myself are doing that. You know, people like myself are doing that. Thank you.